Hello and welcome. Hi, I'm author and coach Grace Rolson. I'm a strategy partner for moms, and this is my Get Support free workshop to help you build a network of support. If you are ready and willing to learn, I am here to teach. But more importantly, if you're ready to do the work. So, this is a workshop where you do self work. And I always say that self work is some of the most important work we will ever do for ourselves and our children. So if you are required to co-parent with a narcissist, required by family court, if you are in a high conflict, costly custody battle with a narcissist, or might be, you will need support. I usually don't give advice, but this advice is a suggestion, which is to get a team of support. So I'm going to give you 5 places that you can look, and my focus, just so you know, is on creating peace and protection for mothers and children by encouraging and supporting loving, caring moms to use wisdom and to lead with love. I write for moms who are forced to co parent with a narcissist or stuck in a high conflict custody battle. And if this is you, you do not have to feel so alone. My books, I have 5 of them right now, can validate what you might be experiencing and give you creative ways with my tips, tools, and strategies to improve the co parenting conditions. And I include them in all my books and articles and on my YouTube channel. So you can like and subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube or listening to this on my Spotify podcast or my free Substack newsletter and podcast. So, my books can validate what you may be experiencing and give you creative ways to improve those conditions. There are healthy attitudes to adopt, mindsets to make solid, and sanity to grab onto and hold on to, as well as beneficial perspectives to take that can really help us endure this dilemma and survive a custody battle. Learn all that you can because knowledge is power. You can pause this to read my full disclaimer. Be prepared with what I call survivor wisdom. So I am sharing this, and this is my story. Some may apply, some may not, but I'm not a professional of a court or lawyer. So you have to take what you might think is helpful, run it by your lawyer, see if it's useful in your case. My goal is to leave you with tidbits of wisdom and lots of encouragement. Know that you can endure and be resilient. Believe in yourself as a mom, and remember to learn the valuable lessons in this whole situation to come out smarter and stronger than before. And my suggestion is to read my books in 1 through 5 for a full understanding. My background is loving and leaving an alcoholic, and then I went on to fight for 10 to 12 years in a family court custody battle before negotiating with the narcissist and getting everything I wanted in the court order, and then getting peace and protection for me and our only child. So, my books in the order are: the number one for moms is Co-Parenting with a Narcissist, 7 Self Rules to Stay Sane. I say start there, listen on Audible or read on Amazon, Kindle, or get it in print. My second is How to Fight a Narcissist in Family Court and Win, Super Smart Strategies for Success. My third is Co-Parenting with a Sociopath, Survival and Sanity Guide. My fourth is How to Survive a Custody Battle When the Family Courts Force You to Co-Parent. And my fifth is Tame the Narcissist. And Tame the Narcissist has a lot of my newest methods of skillful means. And so that's my newest book out. You'll see the big lion face. It's 10 keys for better co-parenting to create peace and protection using strategy and skillful means. So welcome to my work. I'm going to give you a bunch of tips and places to look for support, because I do talk about my 3D approach, meaning discuss, document, and detach. So if you're dealing with a narcissist, you will need to set up some boundaries, create self rules. What does that mean? Boundaries with the self, rules and principles that you'll uphold with just yourself. Because if you've ever tried to set a boundary with a boundary crosser, you'll realize that they like to cross boundaries and you're going to just build resentment and waste some of your time. The boundaries and the rules and the principles get set with ourselves, and then we'll have to practice detachment. So, after you discuss with your strategist, coach, mentor, therapist, lawyer, you will then be able to document strategically in a systematic way and then detach with a plan in place. And that will lower the stress, because what is a fact right here is that dealing with narcissists, are very stressful. Remember, it's a personality disorder. You can watch some of my other YouTube videos that are free about strategies when dealing with a narcissist. The key is to strategize, but to get to strategy, there's like steps. It's really hard when you are unstable, unsupported, to sit down and write a strategy that you're going to stick to, that will work in your situation with a backup plan or two. So be willing to get support and be willing to learn the lesson and change what you can. So if you don't have a team of 10, that's what I talk about in my first book, is gathering the team of 10 for allies for this battle, because you will be, if you're not battling in family court, you will be battling your fears. Your fear of what the narcissist will do, your fear of what the narcissist will do next. Some of these are very valid fears, and we need to pay attention to them. And some of them just stop us in our track from even getting help or doing the right thing on behalf of ourselves and our children. And remember, we want to enjoy our child's one and only childhood and keep our sanity. So, if we lose our mind, our children do not have one healthy, loving parent, and that one healthy, loving parent can make all the difference. So, remember to like and subscribe. Check out that strategies video. That's a free video when you're dealing with a high conflict co parent. And think about my 3Ds. So, hopefully, right now, you have a notebook. This is a workshop. It's important that you do the work and sit down and think about your case. Like, where are your weaknesses? And most of the moms that I coach and talk to, their weaknesses, they don't have a lawyer, they can't find a lawyer, they can't find the right lawyer. And that would be a person that is so key to the team of support, because they can give the legal guidance. Nobody has social media, no best friend, no mom can give you legal guidance for the complexities and the details of family court. So that's what a top family law lawyer, an experienced family law lawyer, can give us in terms of support. So if you want some of my best stuff, pick up the Tame the Narcissist book, because it does have how to use skillful means. So I'm always telling moms, get support. Where do we get support? I don't need to tell you why we need support, but here's the thing. Most women who become mothers and have children with a narcissist are very capable, competent, smart women. And narcissists know that, and they target those women because they're useful. They can do a lot. And we usually know our case inside and out, and we're usually helping everyone else, never mind getting help. So if you're someone that has a hard time asking for help, this is your chance to get over it and to actually take the hero's journey, the heroine's journey around the circle, and cross that threshold and get those, not just traveling companions, but those allies and the mentors and the helpers to help you on this journey. If you want to just read a few of my free articles, you can come to my blog, for co-parenting with the narcissist, to see my message and some of my tips and tools. It's really important when we're dealing with a narcissist to get a safe person to vent to, which means finding regular confidential support to share our story of pain, injustice, and betrayal. When we're dealing with a narcissist high conflict drama, we will need someone regularly to vent to, or we risk having anger and rage pile up inside us and emotionally reacting to the narcissist. Or even worse, all of it, our anger comes out sideways on the kids. We're so stressed out. And when we react to the narcissist, when we're giving them our emotional reactions, it feeds them. So they come back for more. Be proactive and smart. Find this safe professional or two or three. And lawyers are, expensive. And you don't want to bring your lawyer all the drama, pain, and emotion, but rather the name of the problem so they can offer a solution. And my 20 wants list is one of my biggest tools and power solutions. So look for that. And better yet, bring that lawyer your list of 20 wants so they can focus on what you need as a parent to be successful. And no, I did not just sit down by myself with only the things I know about court and make a list of 20 wants. I had to do this with professionals to know what the courts actually ordered. What can the courts actually do to help a mother and child in this case? This is where I needed outside perspectives. It became very beneficial. So, my 20 wants list of PowerTool, you can read some of that sample on my website. So, we want to go from stress to strategic. How do we go from stress to strategic? One, we got to get solid and sturdy and safe with boundaries. You can read my gray walling method and strategy on my website. And two, we get stable and supported before we three get strategizing. So your support team is designed to help you solidify strategies while emotionally supporting you. It will be like crossing thresholds and breaking barriers to get that help. If you're hesitant to get a lawyer, use my Get the Right Lawyer guide. Read through it. Read and understand why it's so important and what it can do for you. The narcissist might ruin things, but don't allow the narcissist to completely destroy you. Get support to stay standing strong. So, the fact I talked about, it's stressful dealing with a personality disordered person. If you're surprised by it, if you're not expecting it, it means you may not have fully accepted that this is a personality disordered person, and you will get disorder with a personality disordered person. So anytime I brought my sponsor something new the narcissist did, this is back before I healed from narcissistic abuse, I would be so surprised. Can you believe he did this? And my sponsor say, yeah, I can believe it, because he's crazy, he's cuckoo, he's not working with a full deck, certainly not a conscience or empathy. So just know that when we are stressed, when we struggle, we make mistakes, we get confused, destabilized, scattered, we aren't as effective, we're isolated and weak. And what does the narcissist want to do to win? Because, you can't always win on lies, but if you can emotionally destabilize the other person, you might be able to win. And that's how narcissists tend to trick and trap victims, is emotionally destabilize the target of blame. So I teach moms to stay emotionally stable. You get the support. And also, number two, stop being the narcissist target of blame. And I teach how you could try to turn that in their mind. And it starts with our thinking. We can't make it an us versus them situation. Learn about that in my books. Again, read 1 through 5 in order so you get it. So when we are strategic, however, we're focused, clear, decisive, supported, stronger, smart, at peace, and powerful. So the key is to maintain our sanity. And a lot of times we need validation that what we're dealing with is insane so that we don't go insane. Crazy making can work on us. I've seen many healthy, loving women get gaslight into feeling like they've gone crazy because they don't know what reality is from the gaslighting. So we have to keep our sanity, and our support team, we check in and say, hey, is this okay? And the person says, no, it's not okay. You're right to feel that way. So, we are trained by the narcissist, part of their emotional abuse and coercive control tactics, to not trust our own thoughts and feelings and perceptions, and that can drive anybody crazy. We're human. So you can be smart and valedictorian and a 4.0 college graduate, a doctor, a lawyer. I've had lawyers as coaching clients who get so destabilized by the narcissist tactics, that they need a support person who knows narcissist, who's not going to question what I'm telling them, and think that they are going crazy. So, how do you hold on to your sanity in the midst of insanity? It's the support and the self care. They give us the validation. Yep, what you're dealing with is absolutely crazy. He's pathologically jealous. He's uh, totally disordered and lacking empathy. And they give us encouragement to keep going. They can sometimes give us an education. I know one of my last coaches that I hired was a parenting coach, and I did need some parenting skills to be there for my daughter's narcissistic abuse and trauma. Like, I'm not a therapist. How do I handle this other than go into an emotional reaction? I don't want my child abused. I left this guy, and now she's got to go through this type of abuse. So, get an education through your support team, wisdom, and an outlet for your anger. So when we're angry and triggered, we're not that effective. So we want to go from triggered to targeted and know that it's completely normal. That's what I tell my mom clients, to react to abnormal. And there is a way to stop being triggered, but you have to pre plan it, and you need a venting partner. So it means that when you're triggered, you can call somebody who knows narcissists and knows you're in your PTSD and you're triggered, to vent out the poison. So, like, they transfer their poison onto us and we pick it up versus, one of my coaches says, just imagine that he's in a straitjacket and he just got out of a mental institution. And everything he says, if you were, if you saw someone in a straitjacket that just got out of a mental institution or a mental health facility, and is unmedicated, would you listen and take anything they say as personal? No, because look at them. That's what you're dealing with, and that's what you got to visualize. And that helped me because it was driving me crazy to believe or think or even mull over the things he was saying. And the key was my sanity. I learned the power of the pause and how to draft responses and run it through my support team, because a lot of times I just triggered the narcissist back. And I don't believe in doing witty comments that shut the narcissist down or win over the narcissist. I believe in we statements. I statements didn't work for me, and I teach all that in my How to Communicate Using Skillful Means. So, I don't recommend winning and beating the narcissist because that keeps the war going. But if you can turn the narcissist's thinking, but your thinking has to turn too, that you're in it together, and how do you want to coexist together if you're required to coexist and you can't eliminate the narcissist from your life because the narcissist has parents' rights and is entitled to be in the child's life? Now, there's exceptions to this. If there's all kinds of real bad abuse, sexual abuse, you might have to go that route. But I haven't seen many cases that can completely eliminate the narcissist from the child's life. But if that's your case, please work that out with a lawyer and just take what's helpful about getting support. And if it does involve sexual abuse, getting counselors that understand that can be very helpful. Um, and I use the BIF method. You could look up Bill Eddy's brief, informative, friendly, and firm when talking, because giving long, drawn out explanations to the narcissists and feeding them our fears just keeps them coming back for more. So I talk about getting a team of 10. Why 10? Because you want to go down this call list. This comes out of the 12-step program's recommendations. You want to go down a call list to pick up someone when you're having strong emotions and they're taking over your thinking, because when we are thinking emotionally, we are not in common sense, logic, reasonableness of the brain, and we need to think, what would a judge think? And we need to call our lawyer and let them play devil's advocate, because not everybody thinks like us. Even if we think we're right and we might be right, other people still don't think like us. So it's important to get those perspectives and have somebody pick up the phone so that we don't react. We want to act, but not react. And that team of 10 can help us. So you can do free support groups. You can check in with the local DV agency for counselors. We want to gather these supporters to keep us emotionally standing. We do get courage through connection. And I did lose some in family court and then went back to win some and then actually win it all in as much as I possibly could in my situation through negotiating with a narcissist. And that took finding the experts in family court, studying, learning, doing work. So hopefully you are writing down things that are helpful for you, and you have a journal that is safe, and you can start thinking your own thoughts, figuring out where you can get support. So if you are forced and required to co-parent with a narcissist, get that safe person to vent to. And remember, you don't want the narcissist to ruin you, even if he's ruining things. So we can get support to stay standing. So remember to hang on and have hope and find these support people. Just know that you are not alone in your grief. Many of us have lost so much to a narcissist. This is a personality disordered, selfish person. Uh, so any partner of a selfish person is going to get the short end of the stick or the other, the crappy end of the stick. So you're not alone. Narcissists are not helpful co-parents. So we will have to grieve our losses and find grief support people. And the narcissist is gathering supporters too for his cause through smear campaigns, poisoning the well tactics, creating flying monkeys and minions, triangulating people. So the narcissist will gather many pawns. So it's really important that you get allies and seek them and gather them. Narcissists are fake, but find your real supporters. So this is really important that you be gathering some people, but not out of fear and stress. You want to be doing it with just uh, common sense, logic, reasonability, maturity. So you don't want to go to everybody and say how bad he is or what he's doing and start getting a bunch of people to file CPS reports. Not that way. So, this is why your support team can hold you through all the hard stuff. And then you can come at this strategically. So, like me, you can outgrow the narcissist, become immune to his attacks, and move on with your life to thrive with support. And we must get our emotional support team together. And preparation is key to any battle, key to any negotiation. Preparation is key. Are you preparing? And sometimes I'll talk to moms, they don't have a therapist, their children doesn't have a therapist, they don't have a lawyer, they've never done a recovery program or a narcissistic abuse healing program. And so their position is just in the trauma, triggered, unsupported. It's a weak position if you were going to the front lines of battle. So we must gather our emotional support team and get prepared if the battle should come. So, for example, I knew the battle would come with my ex, so I enlisted a healthy male mentor, a therapist, and 10 years later, we needed him on the stand. So, if your child has a narcissistic father, and has to see that narcissistic father, um, chances are they're getting narcissistically abused. Narcissists abuse because they're abusers. So, if your child needs support, narcissists usually don't want therapy. So, some of us have to go to court to get it court ordered. Um, if you're always reacting and triggered by the narcissist, and typically when we are triggered and traumatized, we don't think clearly, logically, rationally. When we're triggered, we need to be able to go to that list of 10 and start calling down to see who will pick up to keep us emotionally standing. And it's also important that on your team of 10, there's a lawyer. Even if you can't afford a lawyer, you can find someone to give you legal guidance. There's even online programs now There's that new, is it Just Ask or Just Answer? There's also a new AI DV program. Amy says there are places that you can go to get actual advice and guidance. But when you're doing this, this is another key that's not on this. So listen up. Sometimes I'm sorry. Sometimes I tell people what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. And here's the thing, calling a lawyer and talking to them for 1 hour and getting advice is not as helpful and wise as having a lawyer who knows all the details of your case, who's been with you several years, several calls, and then gives you a guidance, legal guidance and advice. Because someone who doesn't know the whole background and history, which you don't want to dump on somebody right away when you're trying to hire them, you want to retain a lawyer and then, give them a background from a non-emotional standpoint, which takes you having support people who are hearing the emotional part. Because if you use your lawyer for a therapist, which we've all made that mistake, it costs a lot of money per hour. So get the emotions out with these support people to use your lawyer for the lawyering. And getting advice from someone who knows the background of your case and has a law degree and knows the judge and has been litigating family law cases, that is better than just a quick legal answer. Because sometimes a quick legal answer from a lawyer who doesn't know all of your history and background can do more harm than good. At one point, something came to the level of maybe calling CPS, and I got advice to do that. Now, that was my eighth call, and that went against me in family court. And my lawyer called it pushing the nuclear button because it blows things up in family court to a level of blame shifting where instead of the report being taken seriously, they blame the reporter of the report. And I call that mother blaming and finger pointing. And the narcissist can easily twist and deflect. They're experts in that type of manipulation. If they're going to get blamed for something, they're not taking responsibility. They're going to point the finger back and discredit the reporter. So whistleblowers, we have a term for that archetype. Whistleblowers, they're often get in trouble, and all they're doing is telling the truth. So if you've got a high truth like that, make sure you're not just running it by one lawyer one time. You're maybe getting multiple legal consultations on that issue and having someone that knows the full background of your case. So gather that team of 10. And where do you find these people? Places to look. Local DV agencies. So post separation abuse happens after abuse, and abusers usually have a power and control wheel of things they do to victims, targets, and there's always like a next step. Well, if they can't abuse you directly, they'll abuse you indirectly, maybe try to ruin where you live, ruin your job. There's all kinds of tactics, and domestic violence agencies have seen the post separation abuse. I call it co-parenting abuse. And they have counselors. So that's a great place. Therapists who deal with, relationships, who know narcissism. It's in the DSM. Therapy centers, having a private confidential therapist can help. However, if your ex is calling you crazy and is going to try to subpoena counseling records, you might want to buy a life coach online that has expertise in narcissism, or do some counseling through the DV agency. Al-Anon, ACOA, CODA, all 12-step groups, free every hour of the day, online, by phone. There's meetings, and part of that program is to sponsor others. So if you find somebody with 25 years, 30 years of Al-Anon or ACOA, and you ask them to be your sponsor, you'll have a list of 10 very quickly. One meeting a day, listen for someone who knows that program to help you through your recovery process. Some churches are open-minded and have helpful people, and then I wrote some. Not all. I've been to churches who just judged me harshly and were not helpful. Nonviolent communication groups through Marshall's work in books, but there's pop-up groups. and family resource centers that offer parenting classes. So, if you're trying to go it alone, what is stopping you from seeking support? Write that question down in your journal. If you don't have these support people in place, what is preventing you from asking for help? If it's pride, if it's shame, if it's humiliation, write it down and just have some self awareness about that and put a line through it, because there's too much at stake here. Your child's one and only childhood. So many moms lose their children to their abuser all across the United States and probably the world. I certainly know all the other Canada, UK, and Australia English speaking are losing, even though they have lawyers and women's rights, children completely to their abuser. So I got support. I did not lose physical custody to my abuser. I lost legal rights to my abuser in 2020, and I got them all back in 2024. And I had to go to the experts. So, one place, if you need crisis help, is this APA, American Psychological Association crisis hotlines. This will get you a list of warm lines. Don't be afraid to call a warm line or a hotline and just talk to somebody. You don't even have to give your name. Sometimes you could just say a case is too, high conflict and risk. I don't want my name getting out. Or domesticshelters.org, put your zip code in and find a local. Now, if you can't find a local and you're in a small town, go to the nearest city. So be open minded, be flexible, be creative in gathering this team of support. We need a united approach. We need these allies, these guides, these mentors. And I know, as loving, caring, protective, and capable moms, we're very smart, but the battle like this with a narcissist needs a team of confidential, safe, supportive mentors and advisors. It's very emotional, very taxing, very draining to deal with a personality disordered narcissistic co-parent and their lawyers, monkeys, and minions. So we're not just dealing with the narcissist, we're dealing with their top lawyers who are listening to the narcissist complaints, taking them seriously, and then they usually hire the hardest hitting, high-powered lawyer to win. So we're up against not just the narcissists, we're up against our fears, we're up against the lawyers, we're up against family court failures and their inability to detect an abuser. So be smart, get help. Where did I get help? I got a good family law lawyer. I did 3 to 5 consultations. So I had a backup lawyer. I had a DV counselor for 6 years who would go with me to court. And then I had a DV counselor from a neighboring county who didn't even take my first and last name. She just knew I was going through legal abuse. And that is a syndrome, legal abuse syndrome. And narcissistic abuse syndrome, I believe, is a syndrome and will someday be identifiable with a treatment program, because it's going to take a lot of help to recover fully from that type of abuse. It did for me. Now, it's important that you be proactive. I had a confidential therapist, but when my ex was going to subpoena the therapist records, I ended the therapist, and paid for life coaches and coaching in the area of narcissistic abuse recovery, court battles, custody battles with a narcissist. But I had that therapist for many years to help me gain perspective on my case and emotionally support. I had fellow friends in recovery programs, the 3 of them here. I did, a meeting a day for multiple years just to be a safe person and not codependently collapse into my child after I left a codependent relationship with the narcissist. And the team of 10 can be your wise elders to help you, not just in your custody case, but any fallout. Sometimes there's a trusted pastor, but you want to make sure they're not a spiritual narcissist. So, someone that's highly recommended and safe. Be careful with that one. And then women from a local church group can be very supportive if you're in any local women's groups. Just be careful, because narcissists, people love to gossip and it's really hard to hold a secret. So you can share in circles, but protect that information that needs to be, one on one with the family law lawyer or a therapist. Other moms in parenting groups, also be careful what you share. And then a parenting coach or a custody battle strategist and coach, which I do limited sessions now because I'm on the front lines of family court with them. And it can be a very stressful to hear the amount of stress that moms are going through and the amount of loss. So it's important that any of my clients have other support people. You don't want to rely on just your mother, on just your best friend. You're putting all that stress on someone that, yes, they're there for the good and the bad, but they're not experts in family court. They're not lawyers. They're not therapists most of the time. And one person can't be it all for us. So if you've got a new spouse, a boyfriend, and you're talking constantly about court, we can be burning out some of our people in life with the family court drama. Narcissists burn so many people out with their stuff. And so make sure you're spreading some of that stress amongst your team of 10. It's really important that we find ways to de stress, walking, exercising, but also getting all those emotions, the anger of injustice, the upset about the kids being abused, and the fact that we can't protect them from everything. That can really be so upsetting. That's all we think and talk about, and it can burn out family and friends. So those are some of my tips. I encourage you to, read, learn, listen to some more YouTube videos. This is a workshop, so you want to be workshopping your problems and stepping out of the problem into solutions. And one of the biggest solutions is you getting the support team in place. So I have a Navigate the Narcissist co-parenting video course that'll be in the links below this video or in the podcast description. And you can workshop your entire case of where's your weakness. Are you creating long replies? Do you always say you statements and trigger the narcissist? Are you trying to win against the narcissist versus create peace? Are you able to detach, or are you so attached to outcomes and so upset about the cheating that you haven't fully accepted that they lie and that they didn't value you, which isn't a reflection on you. Self-esteem comes from ourself, and we don't want the narcissist to try to heal the hurt they caused. That would create a trauma bond. We've got to break trauma bonds and heal ourselves with, the help of a higher power, with the help of science, whatever helps you heal. We want to go to that for our healing. We don't want the narcissist to help us healing, or an alcoholic to be the reason for us healing our self-esteem. If we've got self-esteem issues, we need to work that out without those toxic people dragging us down, pulling us down. We want to gather supporters to keep us emotionally standing, get courage to connection, and find the experts on narcissistic abuse recovery, family court strategies, and ask for help. So this Navigate course is 11 videos. You can do 2 a week, and in 6 weeks you will have workshopped a lot of the problems and weaknesses in your case. And if you think about it, would a predator attack a baby bear with mama bear standing by? Usually not. And this is very similar to, do narcissists attack moms who have high-powered lawyers that file motions and contempts in court? It's very similar. You've got to think in that way about getting that bear to stand over you when you've got vulnerable children you are trying to protect. So if you're in family court with a narcissist, it's important to have strategized and use my guide with the 20 question attorney interview worksheet. Read the whole guide, fill out that worksheet, get ready to ask those questions and fill in the burning question you have so you can maximize those legal consultations. You're interviewing them. They're going to listen for your case to see if they want it or not, if it's too high conflict, if you can't pay. But there's questions in there of how to get uh, guidance to where you could get free legal aid or pro bono work. And welcome to my newsletter. If you want the free newsletter, sometimes bi-weekly, sometimes quarterly newsletter with my free tips, tools, and strategies via Substack. And I have all of these guides through some of my digital products on Gumroad, where you could buy just the 20 wants list strategy to make a list and gain instant leverage over the narcissist. Use this as a power tool and stay on track. Yes, I did hire $200 coaches, expensive coaches at the end to workshop my custody case after I lost. And I realized that I had to come up with a list of wants after my first 5-day trial because the judge wanted a summary for judgment. And at that point, my lawyer called me and said, "What is it you want?" And I had to go with, "Well, what can I get?" And I created this out of my own experience. And it's so powerful. What we focus on, we get. The narcissist wanted to not pay child support. And so he got paying child support. I wanted to not have his interference with medical and therapy. And that's exactly what happened. So what we focus on often comes about. So make sure you're focusing on what you want, what your child needs, and then strategizing and framing that list, and obviously not letting that list get into the hands of the narcissist unless it's in a key negotiation strategy with pieces and parcels in an organized way. And I talk about that in those lists, which is also in my first book. And then there is a bonus list to leverage guide, how to frame it, how to use this list to lead your lawyer or get a negotiation that is successful with a narcissist. Because narcissists, they want things, they'll file motions, no problem, but they don't have the long term they don't have foresight to see around the corner. And sometimes when you strategically present this list, you can show them they will be responsible for a lot more if they want to push in family court, because we can start asking for rights, child's rights, our rights, rights to get certain supports that narcissists don't want to pay. So look for those on my blog, in my newest books. And just remember that we often need support to help ourselves heal. And healing can happen for you. I have a guide of my best keys to healing from narcissistic abuse. Get support for this. You don't have to do it alone. We don't have to do it alone, even if we can do it alone. And we can outgrow this narcissist and become immune to the attacks. Stop being so triggered, be more targeted, go from stress to strategic. And this all benefits our children when we are supported. And keep that in mind. I mean, if getting support for ourselves helps our children, it will be worth it. Thank you so much for watching or listening. I hope to see you in the next workshop. And in the next year, we hope to have a lot of workshops. And hopefully, you wrote something down and you can just try one this week, one next week, adding things that will support you, putting people on a list. Maybe you got a list of more than 10 and you try out your team and you need to add people, take people away. Not everyone will be helpful and supportive on this journey. Some people will just be triggered themselves and they won't be useful to us at all. So, thank you so much for watching. Use your gift of discernment. Take care, and we'll see you in the next video.